Positional chess mistake from the highest level. The World Championship match between Ding Liren and Ian Nepomniachtchi is amazing chess, and they're winning and then they're losing, and it's all great. And today we're going to look at the latest game, which features some very interesting positional situations where, well, the best players also go wrong in these situations. So how do they go wrong? What do they miss? And how to evaluate positions? What kind of principles can you use? So we're going to look at positional chess mistake and see if we can learn from the best. So buckle up your seatbelts and let's get going here. We got Ding Liren with white, and apparently he's not very well prepared, so he comes with the London system. And when I was a kid, this was all known as a nonsense opening that's played by old people who wanted to sit behind solid pawns with e3 like this and c3 and be really tight, solid. Today it's a dynamic attacking weapon played by all the best players. It's definitely not so easy to play against. You could say that white is getting a luxury version of the Slav opening with reverse colors. Okay, so all this is well known here. If white goes c3, then for instance, this is known to be fine for black after something like this. And here this move works, and here black cannot be worse. This must be fine for black. It's a position where you can play for both colors, and I think it's kind of an interesting position, to be honest, but it's not an advantage for white in any way, which sort of you can just see it from the game. Anyway, knight bd2 is the modern version of this. So white is not allowing any kind of things, and on this move here, which is the main line, then the idea is to play something like this, which is very sharp. And leads to very interesting sharp positions with that pawn sacrifice. We have had some examples of that here on GM Talks, and it leads to rich play, and it's definitely not without dangers for black, but also for white. I think there are at least a few videos with the London system here that contains this variation, but this is not what Nepomniachtchi had prepared. He did admit that he actually expected the London system. So he had prepared to play this. And now we have a carlsbad structure. And as some of the regular viewers here will know, the carlsbad structure, we have a big course on the masterclass on the carlsbad structure. It's very interesting position. It is this these kind of pawns here versus this pawn change. So white has the open file, black has potential minority attack, and so on. The thing is here, black's bishop is out here. It adds some special spice to the position. Oh, not that. This one is here. Adds some spice to the position that this bishop has left the queen side, leaving the white squares weaker on the queen side. But also it's more actively placed. But sometimes it can be a target. Okay. Bishop b5. That's a little bit of a weird move because in general white do not want to take the knight here, but it's a known move also, and it cannot be bad. Something like in this position, if white goes here, I think I played this move and lost to some Austrian IM, and black plays this pawn sacrifice, which is very dangerous, and get long-term compensation, and I end up losing. Well, to be honest, black played very well in that game. Okay, bishop d6 and take. And in general, we should say that black should be fine here. All natural moves, both castle king side and rook e1. This square is important, and H6, I'm not, it's also a well-known move. I'm not sure I like it, but it does provide the bishop with a home here. So far, nothing out of the ordinary. Knight e5, active move. You cannot take the knight. If you take here, then this pin is very annoying. And even though you don't lose a piece because you can play your queen to for instance b6 here, then this is really a problem for the king. Of course, you will have a bad king from now on. So this is not what you want. So instead, and it's not completely clear what white wants to do. Maybe you want to take here and then play on the dark squares a little bit like you do in the Rogozin, playing around this guy here, this bishop on f5. If you can make that bishop unemployed, you will have an advantage. That's a typical positional chess strategy, to play around pieces, trying to make them not work, trying to make them like they don't have a good place to stay, and they cannot find a nice function. So this is one of the ideas behind white's game. Black is of course up to the task and moves the knight. So all the attacking here is now, it doesn't matter. The knight has moved. And white plays an interesting move, a4. As we saw earlier, and you can also see it on the course in the carlsbad structure. One of black's plan is to launch a minority attack to settle white with a weakness on the queen side. So white play a4, gaining space here, and this is all interesting. And so black plays this move. And now black makes a huge positional blunder. And it's the kind of blunder that I think anybody could make. But it's a little bit strange, though, that a world championship contender makes this kind of blunder. He plays knight d7. So let's pause for a moment. The thing is, at the moment, we have sort of a unchecked balance in the center. We have an unchecked balance on the queen side, and we have an unchecked balance on the king side. It's clear that white has somehow more space on the king side, so it will not be something like black cannot push this pawn forward. They will just be weak. So white has more space on the king side and a chance there to attack. Black is still hoping to launch some sort of attack on the queen side, especially making this or this one weak. So a natural move here could be something like b6. b6 would be natural to so if white goes something like a5, then you can go b5, but then maybe white can go b4 and put a knight on c5. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So b6 is maybe, but the thing is, you need the queen side to be an option to get counterplay, and that's why this move is probably best. And say, okay, it will take some time, but I will prepare b5, and when it comes, something will be weak on the queen side. So you're not the side where you are supposed to attack. You still got some options. Instead, Nepomniachtchi played this move, and that's just a positional mistake. White takes. And here's the important point, a5. Now, why is this an advantage to white? Well, if you think about it, you immediately see, first of all, if black is going to play this, something, or here, then first of all, white's rook is perfectly placed, the bishop is perfectly placed. But another point is that when the b pawn goes, then this square will become available for the knight, and when you have a knight here, then attacking this one, which is the only weakness at the moment on the queen side, will be more or less impossible. So after a5, white is already much better, and of course with great chances to do something good here, and rook a3. So white is ready to and that's a sort of a prophylactic move against b5, just getting ready to play something like this and here and so on, and just pushing black back on the queen side. Knight b3. We see that that the knight is coming to this square. It's so even though this position, black's position, has no weaknesses, maybe you could argue that the knight bishop here is a weakness, but in general it does not have any weaknesses. It doesn't have any structural weaknesses, but white is still better. And that can somehow, this is something, well, I remember I found hard to understand when I was improving, trying to become, for instance, an IM. These kind of things just would blow my mind. But now I think it's rather easy, which just goes to show that you struggle with different things in different parts of your development. Knight here, queen d3. Of course, black could take, but it's clear that white is better after. If he takes, the knight will sit very nice on this square, and so on. So he does not want to take. But it's also clear here that, well, white definitely has pressure with the rook here. The knight has a nice outpost here, and white has probably advantage on both sides of the board at the moment. So he starts to get ready to become active. So this kind of move is usually nice. At some point, this one will be pushed, or if black plays this, then this pawn will be weak, which is a typical situation. Rook e8. So black has, and this is, by the way, important to stress, you cannot just sit and wait here, because white can strengthen his position in many ways, and you will simply be pushed back. So you have to find some sort of counterplay. And this was the idea. Of course, it's not optimal that the queen is on this square, but it's well. And here white finds the perfect timing for rook a3, attacking the pawn down here and getting rid of this one. And so we have a transformation here. Black will now have a weak D pawn, but he did get rid of the A pawn, so there might be something to do on the queen side later on. Queen f6, rook a3, attacking the knight, and it's already clear that white is definitely better here. Just question us how much. Knight c4, natural move, getting the knight back on not losing a pawn, and this structure is of course a little bit interesting. White is definitely having the better structure. He has a good knight. This bishop is not good, but it's also the kind of position, if you start to lose control, then black can easily get a lot of counterplay, for sure. So it's not a simple position to play. Here Ding Liren made probably a slight error. He played this move, which is a kind of a move you want to play, but here black actually had the chance to help himself a little bit by taking here. Now that looks crazy, and then play this move with the sneaky point. And this, by the way, this is a nice tactical thing to notice, that if you take here, well, let's see the line, you have this check, and here black can decide. White can decide if you want to allow a perpetual check, or if you want to have something like this, which is, and the knight will fall, and it will be around equal after this, or actually black will be up a pawn. So this is not the way to go. So he should have taken on e5. You could say here, instead of you probably in this position you would probably move your rook back, and have some attacking chances. I think rook and take on b7, knight d6, something like that. It could be interesting still. Instead, he played bishop c2. I think he was very unhappy about that later on. I think I think he said something like bishop d3 would have been better, and white takes here. And this is kind of the counterplay you're always afraid of with white. So, and it is usually very dangerous. This is a nice move. This is where you want the knight. You want the knight near this, the sort of the center of attention. And of course, this does not work due to this move, and the queen will fall. This is a check, like here, right? So very important little tactical reminder. By the way, when the best players are playing, there's always a lot of tactical tricks. So queen takes, and here I think rook a5, nice little move. The trick is if you take on c3 here, then white has this move, and it's not possible to defend g7. This does not help. So this is losing. There's no checks and so on. So that was a nice little trick. So king h7. I think rook c5 is a mistake. I think he has to play queen e1 here. And here he should definitely take, and this will probably be much more unclear than what happened in the game. It might be better for white. It's definitely difficult for this to play this kind of things with black because you have a very bad king, but it's not like it's hopeless. Instead, he gave a check, natural move. King has to go and played f6, hoping to get some chances here, and we can see that this is probably in trouble. But there is at the moment black on this move. Black has this move, both defending and attacking here. So black says, okay, I'm gonna keep you occupied with a5. And here Ding, who's by the way was using a lot of time, played very cool. He just took the pawn, got now two protected passed pawns, and put the knight where it blocks the signal to g5. So this one is now out, making rook c7 much more interesting. He could sometimes take the bishop as well. Rook c7, and this is a serious threat. Rook g8 has to cover it, only move. Knight d5. Due to the pin here, this is threatening winning, so the king has to go. Rook a7, natural move. Everything is defended. There's nothing here. Does keep the pawn under control, but the pawn can move forward because it's protected by the queen. And you know, in a blitz game, you know this pawn's just got a queen, right? But this is a serious game, and now they reach move 40. Rook knight e7. Rook f8, and you say that, oh, if just this knight was not there, then this would be winning. And here a lot of things is good. You could probably play knight f5 or something, but he played a very, very cool move. He played d5, and I was once watching. I was thinking, what are you doing? Why did you play this move? Looks strange. Are you going to try and queen this one, or what are you going to do? And then after this move came this nice move. The trick here is that this queen is still on the diagonal, so there's no check against the king. Here, this is a serious threat. Rook. With the queen taking here, so, and then also happens against queen g5. By the way, in this position, something like this does not work because you can do tricks like this, and it's mate next move with the pawn. So the king is in serious trouble here. King h7, knight d6, at threaten rook here, queen here, and of course also threaten the rook. The rook has to cover, and here comes the nice finishing move, queen f7, and here he resigned. So why did he resign? Well, he made the nicest little mating net, Ding Liren. The trick here is that, for instance, on something like this, white goes queen takes d8, king takes d8, and he has created a tomb for the king. If it goes to here, then this is mate, and he goes here. Then we see the point of this move, taking away this square, because this is mate. So that was very nice. And if we should recap, this, then all black's trouble actually came here, where he made a fundamental mistake, a positional mistake. Knight d7, he was not up to the task of sort of stopping white's plan of playing a5 and making the queen side not sort of unfavorable for black, and leaving the bishop here on f5 hanging in the air. Anyway, this was GM Talk. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Remember, you should also subscribe to the email list, so you will get an email every time there's a new video. And thank you for watching. This was GM Talks with GM Sune Berg Hansen.